Alright, our event is starting. Okay. Our event has started. Here comes the opening.
Now we're going.
Okay, we are 30 seconds to live.
I'm starting to connect. Oh, I can see you.
Okay, that's good. That's good stuff. So I'll keep that window open, I guess?
I don't see the opening card. I see you. There's the card.
Yeah.
The card just started.
My guess is that the theme song will start in a moment, so let's give that.
Everything seems to be going. The card is shivering.
Alright, hello everybody. Welcome to Hello Uncle Foreigner live stream. We are transmitting chat from China. I am Emily, and with me, as always, is Peter in the background.
Always.
Peter is always in the background, even if you have no idea who Peter is.
You can't see me.
We are a weekly discussion, back from a long hiatus of our life as artists in China. We're here in lovely Luzhou, China, which is South Sichuan province, kind of the middle of Nowheresville, but we love it. It's a little bit after 8 because we had some technical difficulties.
It's our first day back.
It's our first day back, but we're back, baby. Today's discussion, we have a few things to talk about. We have some exciting channel news. We recently expanded Hello Uncle Foreigner to include 2 more channels, so we'll talk a lot about that. And then we want to talk about a creative topic in terms of what it's like to craft a persona for online vlogging or whatever kind of nonfiction stuff you do, especially from the perspective of a non-actor, because I am not an actor.
Not an actor.
Not an actor. But first, let's ease into things with a little bit of China lifestyle. Today we're talking a little bit about the winter holidays because it kind of seems like they are never ending. We're American, so we know about the American holidays. I hesitate to say celebrate because we don't do much to mark them here. For Thanksgiving, we got takeout from the Western restaurant. They did have turkey though, so that was a nice thing. We didn't get takeout. We actually went.
We went to the restaurant.
We did dine in for Thanksgiving.
They took us out.
Yeah. But there's a few other Americans in town, like 5. Connie's American too, I think.
That we know of.
Yeah, there's 5 other Americans in town that we know of, so it's not a huge deal. And then Christmas, we had a little cheese fiesta because I had just been in Chengdu, which is our city to the north, which has more Western-style groceries available.
The capital city.
Yeah, it's the capital of Sichuan province, and they have a Carrefour and a Metro and a bunch of other stores that they have a bigger expat population, so they have more expat-y things. So I brought back some cheese. There's a new bakery in the western section of town that had bagels. My goodness, they were delicious.
Boy.
Yeah, so we just had like a little cheese-based feast for Christmas. And then I guess I did a school event too. Like I feel like as an English teacher in China, the biggest part of Christmas is whatever event your school is going to put on, which isn't really Christmassy. It just is like kids dancing around in elf costumes, which is its own kind of fun.
It's good to look at.
Yeah.
We made a video. You can check it out.
Yeah, you can see what Christmas in China is like on our video. I'll put a card up top here. And then for New Year's, we didn't do anything.
Nope.
I went to bed early.
There's nothing going on.
Yeah. Again, we had a school event that was like the kids danced.
They're always dancing.
The kids are always dancing. That's the thing. I'm a kindergarten teacher, which means a lot more dancing than middle school ever was. Although middle school had its fair share of dancing.
Yeah, that's true.
But
Everybody dances. The old ladies, too.
Yeah. Here's a true fact about China. Everybody's dancing all the time. All the time. Right now, even we're dancing. You just can't see it.
Can't see your legs.
Yeah, underneath they're doing a little, I don't know, tap dance.
So
that's the American Western holidays. So those are over, but now we're getting ready for the big deal Chinese holiday, Spring Festival, or Chinese New Year, as you may know it, which, like most Chinese holidays, again, we've made a video about this too. It's a family-centered holiday. You go home and have dinner with your family for 8 to 16 days, depending on how much time you have off of work. And we don't have a Chinese family to go home to, so it pretty much for us feels like everything's closed. Just make sure you bought something to eat before everything closed.
Yeah, or call Taobao.
Yeah, well, Taobao, no one delivers on actual Chinese New Year's Day, the first day. That's, with last year, I think we didn't prepare adequately, and we
Got a hunker.
We starved. We made like a terrible meal out of, I don't know, scraps we found in our kitchen. Which we have no excuse. After 7 years, we knew that we wouldn't be able to order any food.
You just get lazy.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I like Chinese New Year. It's it's nice I get a month off of school, but I don't know, it's kind of a festive time in the city when after 2 or 3 days people do actually start going out, and the city feels really happy. I don't know. I like it. I feel like my description sounds depressing, but it's not. It's fun.
It's fine.
It's fine. Happy Chinese New Year. I think it's the year of
and
the
Christmas and Thanksgiving.
pig is coming up. Don't quote me on that, though. We are saying goodbye to the year of the dog, though. You can quote me on that. That's official.
Whatever it is, it's fine.
Yeah, that's holidays in China.
Fine.
It's fine. But, so that brings us to our channel news. So, you know us as Hello Uncle Foreigner. We recently spun off 2 offshoots, and actually one is now the main branch, Hello Foreigner. We've moved all of our vlogging over there to Hello Foreigner. So if you're here, go there. And if you're there, stay there. And subscribe. You won't miss a thing. That's a little inside if you've seen that video. For Hello Foreigner diehards. Yeah, so we spun off the vlog into Hello Foreigner. We spun off the music into its own channel called Western Toilet. Which is comes from the idea of a Western toilet.
They're so precious.
As opposed to here, it's normal to have a squat toilet, so it is like, it's a specified magical thing if there's a Western toilet available. Peter from the beginning has always been saying that sounds like a great band name, so that's what we named our theoretical band. Western Toilet, so you can go over there, listen to our music, watch our music videos. And then the original, and still the best, Hello Uncle Foreigner, is now going to be home to our live streams, which we are planning to get back to much more regularly.
Is it still the best?
It's all the best.
I think the other ones are the best.
Yeah, the other ones, admittedly, that's where the juicy content is. So a little bit about why we did that. Hello Uncle Foreigner is the name of our blog. It's a name we've carried with us for about like a few days after we arrived in China. A little boy shouted that at Peter in Chinese, and we loved that as a name, and that's been the name of all of our... Yeah, oh yeah, it was a welcoming thing. That's been the name of all of our projects ever since. And so we started this YouTube channel maybe 3 years ago?
Something.
To just kind of upload some kind of home movies, collages that we had made, just so we had them in a place, but we weren't really actively YouTubing. We just kind of parked these videos there.
Which is not good for keeping an average weekly schedule going and alive. It'll tank your...
Yeah, it turns out, so we did actively start YouTubing a little more than a year ago, December of 2017. And we kind of suspected, after a year of like really working hard on SEO and getting the word out and like all these social media campaigns, we kind of suspected that the history of the channel had kind of buried us in the algorithm. And now that we kind of had a handle on what we were doing, we also wanted to organize things a little more clearly and have a more streamlined look to the channel. So we started... First we started Western Toilet for the music, and then Western Toilet with no promotion whatsoever started getting views, which kind of confirmed our suspicions that we were... Because
YouTube doesn't look highly on you having music videos and live streams and vlogs.
Yeah,
and different kind of content. So splitting them all up just made it easier on YouTube and us.
Yeah, and then so we spun off. We created Hello Foreigner as the new home of the vlog and film pieces.
Now we got room to spread out.
Yeah, and so now that's a clean slate. The look is clean. The subject matter is specific, and we have, you know, those playlists deal. It's all organized. It's all organized, and we didn't want to trash anything, so we actually were starting over from the beginning. We're reposting our very first videos, which is kind of fun to go back and watch those all as the creators. And I would suggest that you should go back and watch them all. And
yes,
odds are likely that you did not watch them the first time. That was a major sticking point in my mind of when we were spinning off, when Peter and I were discussing how to do it. I was like, but what should we do if people are confused, like that they've seen these before? And he's like, look at these numbers. No one has seen these before. Like, maybe our parents are a little puzzled as to why all this old content is resurfacing, but they are the only ones who watched it the first time around.
But it works for a nice 2018 review now.
Yeah, and it's a nice look back for us at what we got accomplished in the past year.
And maybe for you
and,
too.
Yeah, and for you get to see kind of a speed through of last year's video journey, because we're posting one a day as opposed to one a week. Our regular posting schedule will be one a week, but for now it's one every day.
So our schedule will be one a week on Hello Foreigner.
Yeah.
Every Sunday on Hello Uncle Foreigner.
Mm-hmm.
And Western Toilet will be when the music videos are done.
Which has been like twice. You had like 2 a week sometimes.
Sometimes one every other week, but it depends.
Yeah. Anyway, you don't need to write this down. We'll
let you know.
Be clear about communicating this information to you. Yeah. So we're going back. We're freshening up that old content. We're busy behind the scenes planning new content. And one thing that has really kind of stuck out strongly to us is that you know, finding your way on YouTube can be a challenge in terms of like what kind of channel am I, what kind of content am I going to produce. But pretty much from the start, we had an eye on the China vlogger niche, but we did not want to be in direct competition. We kind of hoped we were doing something that would go alongside those pieces in terms of we're not so much explaining life in China as kind of giving you an impressionistic picture of what it's like to live here. I mean, the earlier videos, I think the impressionism isn't quite there. It's more straightforward. But as an artistic challenge, the reportage was not really interesting to us. It was, as you can...
It's a small niche, and everyone has their own way of going about explaining their life in China, and ours hopefully is different.
Oh yeah, I just mean for us artistically, what we wanted to do. We wanted to exist in that niche as kind of like a cumulative part of the picture rather than any kind of direct challenge to anybody. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, I think you'll like it. But so that's what we wanted to say about that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
If you have any questions about the move or kind of...
Or cheese.
Or cheese, yeah. Leave them in the comments. We'll be back to answer them later.
We leave these streams up for your enjoyment.
Yeah, this will live on in posterity. It's part of the discussion now. But yeah, so that's... In the spirit of looking back at these older videos, I wanted to talk a little bit in our creative examination segment about crafting a persona, because that's been a big part of my growth this past year. I am not naturally an extrovert, but I do actually find performing easier than having a conversation with someone, and much in the way of like standing in front of a classroom is actually not that daunting to me. There's a structure there, I know what to say, I can do that.
I think a lot of foreigners that become ESL teachers have the same experience, that it feels like you're performing, you're doing stand-up comedy, you're acting, you're...
Yeah, and there's just the fact that when you're on camera, when you're having this kind of, even now, this is not my naturalistic way of being. Peter and I don't have conversations where I kind of lecture at him and let him supplement with witty quips.
I don't even know who she is.
The act of being on camera is the act of kind of distilling the parts of you that you actually want to communicate, which I did work for a little while on independent films in New York City as only ever as like the low level PA and some departmental jobs, but like low level. But it was always interesting to me to see all the aspects of what went into creating a piece of work, and now experiencing them for ourselves.
You work with continuity.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I worked in the continuity department a lot, which, well, that's a tale for another time. But the premise that I'm exploring here today is that no one just turns on a camera and then bang, here we are. Even amateurs, the act of turning on a camera and being aware that you are delivering a message changes how you deliver that message. And so I wanted to approach that with some awareness from the beginning. So where Peter and I started is, I'm not an actor, so I'm not going to take it any place that's not natural to me. Which I think even for actors, they don't take on a role that they don't feel they can access. Excuse me.
Unless you're Nicolas Cage. Ooh.
Well, I think he's got weird depths inside that he can find all these. Yeah.
Another thing.
Another thing. But so when we originally started having this conversation, Peter and I, we just watched the David Byrne movie. What is it? The Tour Across America?
I forgot the name.
Not Stop Making Sense is the album.
Yep. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. But and anyway, if you know the musician David Byrne, he also has kind of a very buttoned up, awkward, possibly an alien to the human race, but fascinated with what's happening style of observation and delivery. And I felt like that's something I could achieve. It actually came from a clip which Peter took of me when we were visiting my hometown in America. I was aware he was filming, so I said something about, like, this is my hometown and blah, 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 blah. And, like, he played it for me later, and it's stilted and funny and
it's
kind
like
of...
you've never been there before.
Right. So we kind of decided to lean into that as it... Because I'm not comfortable with the idea of I think there's a mode on YouTube and YouTube vlogs especially of, like, I'm just presenting me to you directly as an open book with no kind of emotional protection of who I really am. And that scares me, first of all, but also I don't think is sustainable as a creative endeavor. I can't, if I'm just, like, telling you the soap opera of my life, I don't feel like I can go anywhere that interesting with that.
100% all the time?
Yeah. So we wanted to have, like, there would be it's a vlog, so it's true. All these things have happened to us. We kind of shape the story in a way so it's the most interesting, but we haven't made anything up. I mean, they're all true stories. Except for the specific fiction pieces we started to dabble in later. But so anyway, you can go back to our first YouTube vlog style video, which is what winter's like in China, and you can see there I'm affecting this kind of confused persona, with a little detachment and a little, I have, like, a coat on that's, and I mean, I think it works. I'm proud of that video.
That wasn't the real you?
I mean, and that's the thing is that it's all the real me because I don't have anything else to give you.
This is all I've got.
But it is a piece, like, for as short as it is, I spent a day or two writing it, and then you and I spent a couple days, maybe not a couple days, but some time discussing the script and the character and the emotions and the presentation. So you can see all of that at work in that video, but I think you can also see the work that's going on there. It doesn't flow in a way.
I think most people on YouTube have to put a little bit of work into it, more than you think.
Yeah, and so then you can go through the next couple videos, which they're up in 1 week, but it actually represents almost 2 months worth of work. As I get a little more comfortable on camera and I figure out how to speak and then so you'll progress through to hip-hop, which is my response to the idea that China banned hip-hop on TV last year. Which by that time we kind of dropped the acting part, but it's given to you in a very, like, I'm kind of trying to affect, like, a broadcaster, I guess also YouTube essayist kind of affectation, just because it's a serious news piece, and these are the facts, and these are some of my opinions about those facts.
Essentially the beginning of starting to find your own voice.
Yeah, it's the part of the process of just like getting comfortable on camera. And then I think the greatest progress, as you'll see in the days to come and weeks to come, is you can still tell in hip hop that I'm reading from a script, because every once in a while I'll have to look down and see what I've written. That the biggest improvement to that process, which sounds like a writing thing, but it's also a performance issue, of that I stopped writing out full-on scripts because it always sounded like I was reading. Even if it got better if I memorized it, but it still sounded canned and pre-rehearsed, because it was. And there's the issue of, like, I'm not going to memorize a 6-page script every week. So I developed, and we developed, the storytelling, the writing part would involve sketching out an outline, and maybe, like, if I had a good turn of phrase, I'd write that down. But more depending on my spontaneous thought to convey the story like I'm actually just telling it to you, like I'm doing right now. And it's still something that's challenging. It's still something that I'm working on, but it did make the flow feel more personable and more natural. And then I think once we hit on that, because we had to abandon the like acting part for a while, although, like Peter did point out, it is all me. So to me, what looks maybe like wildly different in terms of affectation might look like shades of the same thing to an outside viewer. Because like I said, it is based on this idea that I too feel a little removed, but also in awe of the world. And that's the story that I'm telling to you.
So this is you on 11.
Yeah. Yeah. So me on 10 and me on 11 is like maybe indistinguishable to people who aren't me. So I will tell you, I would say a difference between like real actual conversational me, which this live stream is closer to, than vlog me, is the kind of, I am more upbeat than sometimes I appear in the vlog, and like laughing and smiling and stuff. I do that too.
So we're gonna have to learn how to do cut screens so that you can have a discussion with yourself and
we could have Happy Emily and Flat Affect Emily talk together. Yeah, but so
maybe you could score at home and there'll be a prize.
Yeah. Yeah. You can see in our most recent video that we just made last week, the channel announcement, the channel expansion announcement.
The one with the giraffe head.
Yeah, where I'm wearing a giraffe costume. Again, we'll put a link up here in the
giraffe costume.
We'll put the link up here. For that one, we did want to do something a little more mannered, and that one actually, I did write out a full script and then again memorize the beats of the script rather than the full language of the script, so I was able to deliver it more, I keep saying naturalistically, but that's not, given what the result is, naturalistic is not what we're going for. But deliver it like I'm thinking it, not reading it. But we did bring back an aspect of that kind of mannered performance, which I think, as I've gotten more comfortable on camera, Peter as a director has really helped me out by like figuring out ways to kind of collaboratively push my performance in different directions. And he was the one who came up with Martha, I think her name's Martha Kelly. She's the comedian who's not very well known, but she plays Martha the character Martha on the show Baskets, which is also not super well known.
So if these are things you've never heard of.
Yeah, so that might not help you, but go look her up. She's hilarious, and she's also another, like, flat affect, slightly overwhelmed but excited by life, and so that's Peter. Peter got that as an inspiration, and that was really helpful. And his direction isn't just act like other people, but that was part of his, part of our discussion involved, like, thinking about how her presentation works.
Part of living in a foreign country that's overwhelming and being an awestruck, confused, happy, scared, freaked out.
Yeah.
All these different aspects. When they align with somebody like you, comes off and whoa.
Yeah. But I think as much as I've improved my camera skills, I think you also are a stronger director, I would say.
Woohoo! I win!
Which might surprise you to think that these videos have direction, but they do. And actually, I would think if you know anything about storytelling, you might be able to tell that.
Stuff doesn't grow on trees.
Yeah, it's not just falling out of your computer. What was I gonna say? Oh, and another insider behind the scenes of the script for the giraffe video, the name change announcement. We've been watching a lot of Rick and Morty, so the script inspiration was kind of the stutter, false start wariness that all of the characters have, but specifically like when they make fun of local car commercial or whatever they do on the interdimensional cable episodes when they show like an awkward guy. So, the mattresses will sleep on you. I mean, you sleep mattress. And so,
immediately it gives you plenty of time to think of the next line.
Yeah.
And if you can use the timing to your benefit, then you get a laugh out of it.
Yeah, I mean,
I hope.
And most of that script, our script, is actually written, but there are a few stutter stops that are genuinely I forget what's next or said the wrong thing, which I don't know. I wonder if you can tell the difference. But as far as, so I wrote the script with that in mind, but as far as my delivery, I don't have a Rick Sanchez in me, so.
You shouldn't.
Yeah.
Copyright problems.
Yeah, we also didn't want to like blatantly knock off one of the most popular cartoons on the planet. And our discussion about Martha Kelly really helps me find that. So I'm pretty proud of that. It's a silly video, but I'm pretty proud of what came out of it. And I think...
also, we knocked it out in an afternoon. It's much easier these days, after a year's worth of work, to be able to just say, putting something on the internet to the world. Let's do it.
Whereas
later,
our first videos involved days, sometimes hip-hop was weeks of prep time. Because that was a pretty intensively researched piece. But
now you're more comfortable.
Yeah.
Both of us behind and in front of the camera to basically say, like, we want to put something out there in the world immediately and just do it.
Yeah, and
that's what we learned in 2018.
Well, we both we worked in daily newspapers for a long time, so deadlines. The idea of deadlines and the idea, I do remember like the first story I wrote that was going to get published in the paper, that like I wrote it because it's the news. I wrote it that afternoon, and then it was going to be in tomorrow's paper, and I was like, but how do you know? How do you know it's ready? And then like immediately you get less pressure about that, and you're just like, it's done, go. So I feel like we're at a good spot with that, where we're less nervous about the idea that it's not done or it's missing something or we haven't prepared adequately, I think we're more comfortable with just like creating a thing and putting it out in the world. So in about March, we should be finished with the archives, and we'll be premiering some new stuff, so you can look out and see. If you're interested, you can kind of compare how my performance has grown and changed. Because we're hoping that it has. Yeah, I mean, is there anything else we wanted to say?
We started out great. We're great-er now.
Yeah, that's the thing. We're pretty confident. We like ourselves a lot.
Watch us strut around.
Watch us be the best, and then watch us continue to get better than that.
Oh my God, we're going to be so good.
We're going to be so good.
In March.
In March. So that's coming soon. But you haven't seen the old ones either, so go watch those.
Over on Hello Foreigner.
Yeah, Hello Foreigner. If you missed the card, I don't think we can put the same card up twice, but there is a link in the description below.
Take out the uncle.
Yeah.
Go over there.
Take out the uncle. The uncle's fine. He's fine. He's just not in the name anymore. It's a Hello Foreigner.
So that's our...
Yeah, that's our creative topic for the day. And before we wrap up and say goodbye, we do want to pay some homage. I got stuck on that word. We want to talk a little bit about some media that we like, some things that influence us. So our movie this week we want to talk about is the movie Shirkers, which is a documentary that just came out. I don't know if you can spoiler alert a documentary, but we're going to talk about the whole thing. So if you don't like to know anything about movies that you watch, goodbye. See you next week. But so Shirkers is a project by a woman called Sandy Tan, I think is her name.
No, we should write this stuff down.
We should have wrote that down. But I'm pretty confident her name was Sandy Tan. And she is a Singaporean who now lives in the States, I believe. That when she was 18 and 19 years old, she made a movie with her friends during the summer between going to college. And it was a big deal. I mean, we all made movies with our friends in college, right? I did. But for Singapore in the 90s, this was like a big deal for the culture and for who she was as a person. It's extraordinary. She should not have been able to make a full feature film, and she did.
And the influences you can tell are from Jim Jarmusch and...
Oh yeah. It's very French New Wave too.
Mm-hmm. All the cool guys from at that point. I don't even know how easy it was to find that influence.
Yeah, she said, like, she grew up as a young punk kid, like, punk rocker kid, and she'd write to, like, the Singaporean Film Board and be like, can you import this movie? I need to see it. She sounds like a cool kid. But anyway, so she makes this movie with her friends. They all bust their butts all summer. It looms large now as adults. They talk about the experience that not all of them were having a good time. But devastatingly, their director, the man they trusted, their kind of mentor on this project, who had been their film teacher, ran away with all of the footage. And so the movie never got finished. And they were all heartbroken. They all went on with their lives. The three main protagonists all kind of work in... Sandy, I think... Well, she wrote a novel, as she says in the
Another one was
movie.
Vassar.
Yeah, as the department film studies
The other one's
co-chair, and the other one makes
and...
film. So they're all like in that realm. This was formative in their life, and the seminal project they worked on together just got stolen from them. And then, just recently, she rediscovered the footage. So the 𝗖𝗵cie, the documentary, looks at what happened back then in 1992 or 3.
The footage, but without the sound?
Yeah, and then it intercuts some of the footage, but the sound is lost forever. So it still can't be completed, but they at least have some closure on what happened to the film stock. And how did their movie come out? She does say at one point, because my fear, having made multiple projects at that age, that I don't think I would go back and revisit. My fear is that she would, and I like watching the movie, there's tension of like, she's going to look at it and think it's terrible. But no, she's very pleased with it, and she's like, it's as good as I thought it was.
And it's easily relatable this week as we transfer all of last year's work over to a whole different channel, looking at all the old work, hoping it all transfers well.
Yeah. So it was an interesting movie to see from that point of view of like looking at your old work, and also from I feel like it's a very good kind of portrait of an artistic adolescence. Like that's a lot of the stuff she talked about making this movie with her friends resonated with me. Just how she felt and how devastated she was when it didn't come out, and how her friends felt and how they kind of resented her for some of the ways she handled herself. I don't know. I really identified with it and enjoyed it and was inspired by it.
The film itself looked beautiful. I'd love to see it.
Oh yeah, it's gorgeously shot, and the Singapore of the 90s as a backdrop. It's like it's a beautiful place. That's where I think it looks very French New Wave, and like the shots are super composed, and
yeah, that's what the whole film itself is so enticing for the piece and the period and the location that it leaves you just wanting more. Like, wait, we don't finish this movie. Where's the rest of the information?
Yeah, and it's a real deal feature film. The kids were teenagers, but they somehow bluffed their way to talking Kodak into donating film stock for free, and they like this wasn't just a kid movie on a phone. This was like a real production.
Yeah.
But yeah, and at the end, like I said to you last night after we finished it, I think the fact that the sound is lost but the footage is there gives you enough of a taste to say like, this is the perfect movie, without having to finish it and then maybe it not living up to those expectations. I don't know if they feel that way, but I think there's a beauty in that you can still imagine it as this perfect thing.
It does feel like a ghost of a movie.
Yeah. I mean, and we're not discussing the plot of it because that's kind of irrelevant. If you watch the documentary, they talk about what it's about, and it's about
a young girl finding her own way through nefarious matters of self interest.
But it's not, the plot is not as
and that's
important. Yeah, that's it's
a mood
I don't
piece.
know. It sounds awesome.
A mood piece of its own time and location.
But yeah, it's 𝗖𝗵cie, the documentary.
Recommended.
I think it's on Netflix. It's really good if you are interested in art making or mysteries. There's kind of a mystery in the middle that we actually didn't spoil too much.
So our next movie will be a 2-hour piece with no sound.
Yeah. It's a nice look at Singapore.
Which we would like to visit one day.
Yeah. So that's our movie of the week.
𝗖𝗵cie.
And yeah, we definitely identified with her punk style. We like the punks, so But so that's it for this week then.
Channels change. We like punks.
Yeah.
Done.
So to sum up, the big news part. Go look for our vlogs on Hello Foreigner. We're starting over again from the very beginning, so you won't miss a thing. Will you miss a thing? No, you won't. I'm gonna run that joke into the ground.
That's our main guy.
Yeah, and so point your browsers there. Subscribe. All new content will return in March, but all the old content is new to you, statistically speaking.
Western Foreigner.
Western Toilet is where the music videos live. That one's a lot of fun.
That's the music from
Yeah.
Hello Foreigner.
Those are original compositions by Peter, and the videos themselves feature...
Tend to be leftover footage from the movies.
Yeah, so they
Behind
feature
the
kind of
scenes.
outtakes behind the scenes, a little extra
Some experiments.
foreigner love.
Animation.
Yeah, a little bit of animation.
Fun.
Yeah, so check all that out. Come back here next Sunday for more artsy-fartsy behind-the-scenes chat.
One quick before we wrap up. Your mom says hello.
Oh, hi, Mom!
Shout out.
Shout out to my mom, who is our #1 supporter. Don't tell Peter's mom. No, Peter's mom is also our #1 supporter. Our moms are our biggest fans, which I guess is as it should be. It should be. It's nice to be loved. But that's it for this week. We'll see you back here next week. And in the meantime, don't get spice in your eye. I'm trying out an end tag.
Yeah, okay. We could go with that one this week.
I didn't run that by Peter. I'm giving us a little chatter at the end because I don't know
when it stops.
Yeah, how far behind do you think the stream is?
Well, you're talking still.
I guess you have no idea.
Yep. Can't really tell.
Well,
you're either on or you're off, or you could do a little soft shoe shuffle.
I'm just gonna press stop then.